Hey, this workshop, this is more of a workshop than just a webinar where I talk at you. So we're going to be doing a lot of interacting together. So just a heads up that I want you to participate as much as you feel comfortable. It's what we call challenge by choice, meaning I hope you hop in and are willing to share and chat, but obviously I'm never going to force anyone to do so. So do your best to put yourself out there and interact with your peers, and we'll go from there. It would be helpful if you all had a notebook with you and something to write with, because there'll be moments when you'll need that. So if you want to take a second to find a pen or paper and a notebook, that would be a great idea. Ketsuki, nice to see you. If you have a video and you want to throw it on, that would be awesome. All right, we're gonna get started. So I'm gonna share my screen with you, and let's hope everything goes as planned. Let's see. All right, everyone see the screen? You're in the right place. You're not supposed to be in a different webinar. Nobody's laughing. Did you all just wake up? Show of fingers how many hours ago you woke up. 1, 2, some people have 0, 2.5, 0. Mia just rolled out of bed. All right. Ketsuki just rolled out of bed. All right. So we got different levels of awakeness. So hopefully we'll get you going from the start. All right. Well, welcome to the morning. We have 45 minutes together, and this workshop is focused on a curriculum called She Believes, which US Soccer has put together for girls involved in the sport. So this is pretty cool. This is the first time we're able to do this as a group. So you guys get to be the experts to help me navigate through and to see what's really beneficial from this and what stuff we can adapt. Okay, so I'm looking forward to feedback from you throughout. I sent an email yesterday to all of you that has some information of like a pre-workshop information, some things to do, and then also a workbook. So the workbook you won't need today, but if you have it nearby and you want to use it to take notes, you're welcome to do that. So the full program is all these different parts, and today we're going to be really focused on the confidence part, and in particular building your confidence. So there's actually going to be a second workshop that's going to focus on another part of building your confidence, but this is the first one that we're doing together. Okay. So what we want to do first is I'd like to do a confidence check-in. So listen, I'm human just like all of you, and I know that there's moments when I feel really strong and confident, and there's other times when I have some self-doubt, right? And particularly in new situations for me. And what can sometimes be helpful is for us to think about and identify those two different situations. So moments when we feel super confident, and moments when we have a little bit of self-doubt. And then within each of those situations, we want to think about, okay, what were the factors that led me to feel really confident? So what was going on that made me feel like a really strong and capable person in that moment? And on the flip side, in the moments when we had a little self-doubt, what are those factors? Because what we want to do today is think about separating those factors out and putting more of the positive, confident ones into those other situations, and removing, or at least noticing and putting aside, those negative factors, okay? So what I want us to do first is to think about these two questions. So think about a situation in which you felt most confident, all right? What factors do you think contributed to your feelings of confidence? And then the second question is, think about a specific time where you felt some self-doubt and that held you back from having success. And what do you believe contributed to this feeling? Now, I know these are tough questions and they're also really personal. So again, challenge by choice. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to split us up into some smaller groups so that you can think and discuss with just 2 or 3 people, okay? And then we'll come back together as a big group. But to get us started, it's only fair, I think, that if I'm going to ask you to share, I'll share as well. So I tried to think about these 2 questions. And for me, one of the moments that I can remember from playing soccer when I was most confident was back to a state club playoff game where we were playing our big rivals in the semifinals. And I know I was nervous going into the game, but I remember playing the game and it's like I wasn't thinking about anything else except what was going on the field. And I was totally consumed with my role in that moment. I can't even remember who was at the game and who was watching me. So I wasn't really worried about other people. I had this sense of feeling really prepared, like I was just doing my job and I had known that I was ready for this moment for a long time. It sounds kind of wild, right? And a little cliche, but like those are the pieces that I remember from that moment. For the second one, so a moment where I felt self-doubt. So I'm actually a student like all of you. I'm getting my doctorate at the U, and I remember 5 years ago in my first year, we had to give a public presentation to our whole department. So it was the first time that I had to stand up in front of all my peers, so other students, and also all of the teachers, the faculty members, and share something that I was quote unquote an expert in. And I remember having a lot of self-doubt going into that moment. And I think some of the factors that contributed to that were like, I felt on the scale of expert to non-expert, I was like at the bottom. So I felt like I didn't have any expertise among this room of really experienced professors. I also don't love being in front of big groups. So I think thinking about all the people watching me and what they would think was a factor that contributed to that. And it was a new setting for me. It was like in a new part of the building, in a room where I hadn't really prepared to be before. So those are a few factors that I think impacted why I felt some self-doubt as well. So does that give you kind of a sense of what maybe to think about from your own experiences or examples? Yeah. Is small groups something that you would like to do? Thumbs up if you think that would be a good way to do it to start. Small group. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a minute and we're going to go into what's called breakout rooms. So what's going to happen is you're going to be asked to go into a room and it's random. So it's going to assign you to a room with 2 or 3 other people. And in that room, you can, at will, however you feel is best, share your 2 moments, okay? All right, and I'm gonna pop around. So if you need my help, just holler, there's a help button. And I'll try to drop in and let you know I'm there so it's not a surprise. All right, see you in about 5 minutes. Hey Hayden, how are you? Doing okay? So we just broke up into breakout groups and we are talking about 2 questions that the group can fill you in on, okay? One was sharing a time when you felt most confident and what kind of factors you think contributed to that. And the other one is a moment time that you felt some self-doubt and thinking about why maybe you felt that way, okay? So I'm gonna send you into a breakout room with a couple other people. And let's see. You should have an invitation right now to join breakout room 1. Do you see it? Here, I'll move you to another one. Did something pop up on your screen? Can you turn your microphone on so that I can help you?
Sorry, I didn't realize it wasn't on.
No worries. Do you see a little thing pop up on your screen that says breakout room 3? Okay. Let's try this. We'll try moving you to 4. How about now? Do you see a little announcement pop up or a little notice somewhere?
You don't have to have the enhanced Zoom, do you? Do you have to have enhanced Zoom? Or
you shouldn't. It should be in basic.
No, I still don't see anything.
There's nothing on your screen.
Where are you supposed to see it? Or what is
supposed to pop up?
There should be like a little message that says,
make it bigger.
Join breakout room 3 or breakout room 2.
Oh, okay, I see it.
You see it? All right, we'll see you in a bit.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, are we all back together? Looks like it. Okay, sounds like you had some good discussions, and some of the groups said they found some common factors for both of those situations of confidence and of self-doubt. Is anyone willing to share? And what I ask is that if you share your own story, and then you can obviously share factors that were common to the group, but try not to take on someone else's story. Let them do that if they choose. Okay. Is there one or two brave volunteers who want to give us an example?
I'll go for the self-doubt one.
Awesome. Thanks, Kaylee.
So it was the first game I played with the 04s this year, and it was the game in Chicago, and that was the game that like Mia broke her fingers, and we had got a lot of goals scored on us after that because we didn't have an extra goalie. And so I think just during that game, none of us were like super confident because we were down by a lot of goals. We had Jordan in goal, and she's not a goalie. So I think what like contributed to that is just how I wasn't confident in like the whole team's thing because we were like down by a lot of goals, and we had a non-goalie in goal against a really good team. So I was struggling to keep my confidence up during that.
Thanks for sharing, Kaylee. Anyone else? Can we get one more volunteer?
I can
right, Maddie.
I think tryouts are a time when I personally don't feel super confident unless like I know everybody there.
Yeah, that's a great moment, right? That applies to all of us, where we could feel maybe one way or the other, or sort of mixed, right? Anyone else have factors? Anyone else feel similarly about tryouts? No, a little bit. Yeah. So
I think.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I was gonna say I think tryouts are like difficult sometimes, just because like if you don't know a lot of the people, especially if it's like a new team you're trying out for, you don't really know what to expect. So it's kind of like nerve-wracking. You don't really know.
Yeah, a lot of unknowns, right? New
Yeah.
people. Any other factors you can think of that make that situation a little more difficult for all of us, or for some of us?
Well, like, there's like always new people that come in, so like there's always that thought, like, oh, what if these people take my spot, or like, what if they're better than me and they make the team and I don't?
Yeah, what might happen in the future, right? Does anyone really love tryouts here? And that would be awesome if you do. Yeah. Okay, Izzy, can you give us some factors of why you really like it, why you really feel confident in them?
A lot of the time, for all the tryouts I've been to, I know the majority of the people there. Mm-hmm. Especially in the past, like tryouts for the DA, that this year it was different. But in the past, it's not something that's really stressed me out or anything, because I do know a lot of people, and it's nice when you do know people because you have people to lean on.
Yeah.
And so that's a good factor.
So knowing someone can be helpful. But sometimes we can't control that, right? So part of this is thinking about what are the pieces that we can control as individuals, regardless of what's happening in the outside environment, to help us feel confident in situations, right? Because we're as often as, and I know, right, we want to be, I'm someone who really likes to be prepared and likes to know what I'm walking myself into, but there's moments when that just doesn't happen, right? And so how do I prepare myself to have a skill set so that when those moments do occur, I can remember, oh yes, these are a couple of things that can help me be confident, okay? So what we're gonna do next is talk about ways we can develop a confidence routine. So I just wanna give you a pause, because if you wanna take any notes from the check-in, feel free to do so you have those before we move on. All right, so we have all talked about moments where we felt really strong and powerful and confident in situations, and also others where like none of those three things exist, right? And so part of what we know is that there are certain things we can do that help us increase the likelihood of feeling confident. And what you see on, I've got to show you my screen for you to see it. What you see on the screen here are 5 tips or skills that we can all try out and think about developing to help us have confidence in those moments where it just doesn't come naturally. And these 5 are act as if, find your power pose, channel your heroes, focus on what you want, and mentally rehearse. And so what we're gonna do is spend a little time on the first 3 together. And then if we have some time, we'll go over the last 2, or those are things you can do on your own. All right. So the first one is act as if. And this means that the strategy is to act with confidence, act with the confidence that you aspire to have. So has anyone heard the phrase, fake it till you make it? Yeah, and in the video you watched in preparation for today, Amy Cuddy, the researcher from Harvard, said, fake it till you become it. I don't really like the word fake it because I don't know, to me it doesn't resonate. So for me, I think about trying it until I buy it. So I'm gonna try something with my full effort and until I buy in or decide that, hey, it's not for me, okay? And so all these tips that we're talking about are things that I hope you will really try and give a full effort. And then if it doesn't work for you, that's okay. You can leave it and try a different one. And if it does, then it can become part of your toolkit or your skill set. So one way to do this is to think about someone who you could emulate, who really exudes confidence, a confidence that you aspire to have. So this is someone that, to me, exudes confidence. This is my younger sister, Emma. She lives in New Mexico. She's a social worker. She works in healthcare. She probably would kill me if she knew I put this photo up. So we'll switch it to a different one. And for me, Emma is someone who always seems to carry herself with confidence. And a couple of the things that I identified when I was thinking about Emma is just her mannerisms. Like, she's always funny. She does bold things like that first picture you saw. Her presence is very calming. She's always very thoughtful. I just feel like she's always being her, right? Like, she's very genuine. And when she communicates, I feel like if I'm talking to her, she's listening intently. She's thoughtful. She's willing to share her opinions that maybe aren't the same as mine, but in a way that I'm really willing to listen. So she doesn't necessarily back down, but she meets me where I'm at, and we're able to have a conversation about things that are difficult. And so to me, Emma is someone that I want to try to act as if in moments when I'm feeling some self-doubt. So what I'd like you all to do is think about, is there someone who exudes the confidence that you would like to have? And as you think about it, can you think about their mannerisms, some of the ways they maybe communicate, their presence, that we can name so that we can develop some ideas of things that we can add into our act as if part of our confidence routine? Does anyone have an example of someone that they'd maybe be willing to share? And it doesn't have to be as long and wordy as my share. It could be short and brief.
Okay. So for me, one of my teachers actually, she has really good confidence as far as I can see. It's just kind of the way she presents herself, whether she's teaching up at the board or she's walking around. She's never, like the video we watched yesterday, she's never closed or anything like that. She kind of, her body language is really opened and inviting. And so for me, it's just, I don't know how to explain it, but I think her confidence is really cool and really great.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Izzy. Someone else have an example?
I'll share.
Yeah.
So mine is my brother. He's really tall, which makes him really like, I don't know how to explain it. It just makes him feel like, oh, okay, that's a little scary, you know? But then he always has a really big smile on his face, and the way he talks is really inviting. He has a lot of power in his voice, but it's not a bad power. It's like, oh, come talk to me power. And he's just confident when he talks, he doesn't stutter. And he's just a very inviting person. And he brings good vibes with him wherever he goes.
Good vibes. Awesome. Anyone else out there?
I'll go. I would say my mom, because she always has like the biggest personality in the room, and anyone who's been on my team knows that, because like when we would be at a dinner, she'd walk in and you'd automatically be like, oh, Lisa's here, because you could just like, she just has such a big personality, and she's just always like inviting to people, and yeah, she doesn't, for lack of a better word, she doesn't care what other people think of her. She just is herself.
Yeah, awesome.
I second that.
You second that? Kaylee, can I throw a challenge out to you?
Yeah.
Could you do your best Lisa impression for us so we can see what it looks like?
Oh gosh.
Yes.
I think Mia's better at it.
Mia, you want to give your best Lisa impression?
I don't know how to do that.
No one can be Lisa. Lisa just is Lisa.
Yeah, Lisa's just herself.
How about, can you pick one thing Lisa does that shows confidence, and try that?
Try it?
Yeah, just show it. What's one way that Lisa exudes confidence, and what does it look like?
She does a lot of public speaking, and when she's on stage, like on her company's Instagram page, there's all these pictures of her speaking, and she's just always laughing on stage, and she's just like, she's standing in like one of those power poses. She's always just like, her body's open, and she just like exerts this type of confidence. So
yeah. Awesome. Okay, thanks, Kaylee. So that's a great transition. So the next one we're going to talk about is finding your power pose. All right. So a power pose is a name for a way that the way our physical body is placed in space can change sometimes the way we feel about ourselves. So there's some research out there that says if we put ourselves in certain positions, it can impact the way that we experience the world. So it can give us more confidence or can take away some of that confidence. Does anyone remember any of the poses from the video?
The Wonder Woman, like the
Wonder
her
Woman,
hands
yeah.
on her hips.
So
Yeah,
I'm gonna
that
invite you
one.
all to get up and show us. So we're gonna do them all together. So hop up, Kaylee. Let's see your best Wonder Woman. Yeah, I like it. Can everyone do that one together? Everyone hop up. Let's see what it feels like. We gotta get the blood flowing anyways. I think chin up, arms out, taking up a lot of space, shoulders back. Look at all those Wonder Women. Nice job. All right, anyone remember another one that you can show us? None?
Isn't the one with like your arms up, like the V? Is that one?
Oh
This
yeah,
one?
that is one. So hold on, let me see if I want to try to see all of you because right now I can only see my screen and that's not as fun. Yeah, all right. So we have this one on the desk, the leaning in with the face. Yep. What was another one? Who said the arms up one? That one? So arms up, like you're celebrating, excited, head to the sky. Does anyone remember this one? Kicking your feet up on the desk, hanging out, right? Or maybe you're sitting there and you have another chair and you're just kind of leaning back, taking up some space. You guys remember all of those? Okay. Did any of you try the power poses on your own yesterday? How did anyone notice a difference in how they felt? Yeah, I see some shaking heads. Izzy, can you share? How did you feel?
So I did the Superwoman one that Kaylee said, and originally I was just sitting in bed watching the video, and then once I did it, I don't know why, I just felt like I had a lot more energy, and I felt really happy. It was really weird.
Yeah, cool. That's great. Anyone else? Ellie, did you try them?
I tried the winning one with my sister, and it just like felt like Izzy said, like just felt energy and like your like emotions like change quickly. Like I was so tired and I was like, whoa, this is like, it makes me feel like good, if that sounds like weird. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really awesome. Ketiki, what about you? How did it feel to be in a power pose? You might have to turn your microphone on.
Yeah, my parents won't let me put my feet up on my desk, so I just tried that because why not? And then it just felt unusually good.
Don't tell them I told you to do that. But maybe on your own time you can do that, right? Awesome. Anybody else? Ava? How'd it feel?
I just think that it just brought me more confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let me share the screen again. So, hey, nice job getting up and showing all those things off. These were some of the power poses. I tried to find power poses of famous women in sport and out of sport online in these poses. And to be honest, it was actually, except for these soccer poses, that was really tough to find. So I would encourage you to be the people who emulate these poses maybe for your peers or your younger peers, right? To showcase ways that we can control the way we feel, okay? It's kind of a big deal that we can go from feeling really tired and a little bit, reserved to all of a sudden having a bunch of energy and feeling really good about ourselves just by changing the way our body is in space, right? And that's something that we can control all the time, which is super cool. All right, I'm gonna move to the next one, which is channeling your heroes, okay? So this is slightly different than the first one, where we sort of fake it till you make it or try it till you buy it, in that we want to think of someone that we admire. So maybe it could be someone, famous person, it could be, someone really important in your life. And we want to think about moments that are difficult for us and thinking about that person who's a hero to us. What would they do? What would be the things that they would do in those moments? Okay. And for me, when I was thinking about this question over the last couple of days, I was thinking about what's going on in the world right now, right? Like all the healthcare workers that are helping us deal with the pandemic. And so part of what I was thinking about is, what would they do? What would I do to channel them in a difficult situation? And 3 phrases or words that came to mind was thinking about being brave despite the unknown, right? Being willing to step into something that was hard and new and different, and doing my best. I was thinking that these people are also calm and thoughtful. Like there's a lot of chaotic stuff going on. Things are moving and changing really quickly, but they all are being calm and they're thinking through all the years of experience of training that they've had. And then the last thing is they're taking things a day at a time, right? Like they're just going into that situation and they're doing the best they possibly can. They're not thinking about the future and what's going to happen after or what people are going to think later. They're just going in and doing their job and doing their role, and making the most of it. So I'm going to throw this back to you. Can you think of someone who you admire, and think about a tough situation for you or for them? And what would they do? What kind of words would you use to describe them, or phrases would you use to describe their actions? Okay, so take a minute or 2 to think about that. Does anyone have an example that they'd be willing to share with us? Aiden, can you think of someone who's a hero for you?
Probably my brother, personally.
Mm-hmm. And what sort of word or phrase would you use to describe him?
That's a good question. I would say very intelligent, just because that's how he appears to me, and very open.
Yeah, I think you made a really good point. Like, it's that he exudes intelligence, right? Yeah. And I think that's a really important thing, because I know a lot of really, really bright people who don't exude the intelligence they have. And I know a lot of others who are very bright, but they really showcase that. So I think that's a great skill to be able to exude intelligence. Any others? One more hero that we want to share? Thanks, Aiden. What about Aiden? Aiden, do you have an example for us?
Yeah.
I chose my sister because when she's put in a hard situation, she does what she thinks is best and not what others think.
That's awesome. So she trusts herself and listens to herself. Cool. All right. So the two other tips that we're not going to have time to go over today, but that you can think about and that are also in the workbook you got in the email are focus on what you want. So when you think about a situation, take time to think about what the positive outcomes could be, the positive outcomes that you hope happen, because focusing on those can keep your head in the right frame as opposed to thinking about the things that could go wrong, which in turn impacts your confidence. So try to spend most of your mental energy thinking about what are the possible positive outcomes. The second one is mentally rehearse. So for example, you're walking into, none of you are probably applying for jobs yet. I was thinking of a job interview. But maybe you're walking into a big game on the field and you are trying to prepare. So take some time to walk through, okay, what's it going to be like as I show up at the field? What might it feel like in the environment? What's it going to be like as I put my gear on, my cleats, pull up my socks, right? The tape on my shin guards. As I step on the field, start to kick the ball, what are the things that might happen? Walk yourself through a few scenarios in the game. So mentally rehearsing can be another way that we get to control what the way in which we feel in these particular situations, okay? So I'd encourage you on your own in the next week to take some time to think about these and try them out if you have the opportunity. All right. I would like you to take a minute or two and think about, are any of these 5 tips already a part of your routine? So the way in which you prepare for difficult moments or you think about difficult moments. And if not, what might you do to include one of them? Okay. And then the second question is, and just pick one of these in the interest of time, and the other one we can go back to, is think about your answer to the self-doubt question in the beginning when we did the confidence check-in. How might you have used one of those tips to increase your confidence in that moment, right? So for me, my self-doubt moment was going in to do that presentation my first year of school and thinking about, okay, which one of those tips? I definitely didn't try out the power poses. Maybe that's something I could have done before I walked in that room to control the way I felt before I got up on stage, all right? So take a minute or two and just make some notes in your journal. All right. Okay, so we are almost out of time for today, and we're gonna skip to the end of the presentation. So what I'm gonna do is there's this last section on modeling confidence. So there's a brief video that we can watch, that you all can watch on your own, of Kate Sowers. Kate Sowers was the first woman to become a coach in the NFL. And she's sort of broken a lot of barriers for women in the sport of football, right? Which has traditionally been all male. And so there's a clip of her talking about what it was like to be sort of a trailblazer in that field. And a lot of these questions, reflective questions about how she inspired people, the way she exuded confidence, I think are things we've been thinking about with our own role models and people that we want to emulate, okay? So in closing, here's what I'd like you to do for yourselves, and then I'd like one or two of you to share. Can you briefly jot down 3 takeaways from today? So what are 3 things you leave with? Because we all know when we step out of class or we leave a workshop, all that stuff goes off into who knows where, right? And a lot of it we forget about. So what are 3 important things for you that you want to take away from today? And the second thing I want you to do is just jot down 2 questions that you still have. So what are 2 things that you either want to know more about, or you're confused by, or that you would be interested in knowing more? And then the last thing I'd like you to do is write down 1 action step. So given what we learned today, what's one thing that you can do this week that you control that helps you practice one of the things we learned today? So what's 1 action step that you can take to help build your confidence? All right. And so the last thing I want to leave you with is that we're going to do a second part to this series. So the next section focuses more on self-care. Okay, so these are all activities or tips that you could do as you go into situations to help improve your feeling of confidence. We're also going to talk about the component of taking care of you. Okay, and that's the next piece. So I think next week we'll be offering that if you're interested. Please sign up if you'd like to, and if not, no problem. There's also some information on your workbook about the second part too, if you want to peruse through it in advance, okay? Do you all have any questions or things you want to say? No? All right, so what I'm going to do is after this, I'm going to email you all a quick survey for some feedback so I can learn more about what was really helpful for you. What things you would like to see done differently. So if we re-offer it to some of your peers, we can improve it just a bit, okay? Thank you all for attending. Have a wonderful day. And if you have any other questions about this workshop or anything related to it, feel free to reach out. You should all have my email, okay? All right, bye everyone.